Salutations, my name is Summer and this is Sterling Reads. I don't really know how this video is going to go or if I'm going to be able to even do it. But I feel like the longer I wait, the harder it's going to get. Anyway, I just want to mention the loss of one of our own on BookTube, which I'm sure all of you have already heard about Shawn's passing. Shawn was the person that you go to when you have any kind of questions about any kind of book. You know, I've heard a lot of his friends talk about science fiction. That was one of his big things. But it was never one of the things, and I do read some science fiction, but it was never one of the things I talked to Shawn about. Shawn was always somebody I talked to about the classics. And when it comes to the classics, like when you talk about Les Mis, which once I heard about his passing, I've been wanting to pick it up since I read it the first time. But I just keep thinking, oh, you know, I have so many other things I want to read. But I did, and see here I'm going in circles, but I did pick it back up, and but he's read it like 6 times. When you talk about reading a book, he'll have read like different translations of the novel, and I think he's read Les Mis like 6 times or something. So that's the type of reader he was. And I was watching his rereading, the year of rereading, which was maybe last year or the year, maybe it was the year before even, because with his health, he would take so much time off here and there, not from Voxer, but from YouTube making videos. But yeah, the classics is what we would talk about, and I had not talked to Shawn since the day after Christmas. That was the last time that I talked to him, and I had put him in my 2026 plans for reading Zola with me and Ariane, which I'm thankful that she is still wanting to read the Zola series. But yeah, it's definitely been a hard thing losing him, and it's just, there's so many booktubers, there's so many, and not just booktubers, I mean there's a bunch of subscribers too, and just people who would watch his videos and not subscribe, not comment, just, you know, background people. Here's little Prim. Did you want to come up here? You gonna be all sneezy? Do I need to wipe your nose? Anyway, but he just touched so many people, and there's gonna be so many people who feel his loss of just being able to reach out and say, hey, and ask him a question or talk to him about whatever book it is, and hear his was very opinionated in a great way. If he didn't like something, you knew he didn't like it, and if he loved something, you could feel his enthusiasm. So anyway, I'm really going to miss him. I know that there's a lot of people who talk to him every day or every other day, and luckily that those people were the people who were able to find out what was going on with him and everything, and you know, let us know, those of us who didn't talk to him as much. So anyway, I just want to say we will miss you, Shawn. I've been talking to a couple of booktubers about having an event in May called In Memory May, and it may change its name I have no idea. I'm just throwing this out there to people who like to plan ahead. Um, but we had talked about it being a month of reading books in memory of someone that you cared about, that you've lost, a book that they enjoyed. So whether it was like, we had talked about like if it was a grandfather or a booktuber or a friend or a teacher or someone who made a difference in your life that you're going to miss. In Memory May will be a time to read a book that they enjoyed and talk about the book and them. And anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that. So before I get emotional and even more rambly than I am, I'm going to talk about a couple of books that I have read. I've actually finished 4 books, but I'm not going to talk about all those right now. I'm just going to talk about one of them, Anne of Cleve by Alison Weir. This is the 4th book, because this is the Tudor Queen, so they're going through all the queens. And you know, she was the 4th queen, married to Henry VIII. These are very entertaining. You have to take, they're historical fiction, so there's so much in here that they don't really know. That you will never know how Anna of Cleve felt. You can guess by what people had written, but you will not know how she felt, what she was going through, except for what other people had wrote down. So Alison, where she goes and makes her a very relatable character, and you hear like so many things happen though that I'm like, I don't think this is not what I think would have happened or how she felt, but I didn't, you know, but like I said, we will never know. So this is her story, and I like that they go through King Henry's death in her case, because she actually survived him. one of his queens that survived him, because his first queen, she died from an illness. The second was beheaded. The third died, you know, after she had given birth to his one and only son, who did not survive to be an adult. And then Anna was set aside as a sister, thank goodness, which I feel like she was very lucky. And I think she was the luckiest queen, actually, because she didn't have to deal with him intimately by this time, where he was in very bad health and had a leg that apparently smelled, and that hurt him. So he was a bit of a tyrant by this time that she married him. But anyway, yeah, so this is her story, and it takes it past King Henry's death and to her death, which I knew nothing about, and I don't even know if it's all if it's all true, because this is historical fiction. But I continued on to the 5th book, which is about Catherine Howard, who actually, Catherine Howard was cousins to Anne Boleyn, the second one who was beheaded. And if you know history, you know that he beheaded her also. So I went into this knowing that she's going to be beheaded, and I'm getting teary, and it's not over Catherine Howard, it's over, you know, thinking about Shawn and just everything in life right now. So I'm not crying over Catherine Howard, though I feel for her. She was super young, and she was apparently, she had that, which I had read this in other books, that she had this she was, besides being young, personality, she was very young and fun, and you know, here's the thing too, their families groom them to want to be as high, get the families, because if like she goes up higher, then the family does too, and you know, so they're taught to, this is what you have to do for the family also, whether she wanted to be queen or not. But yeah, I'm not quite halfway through, but I'm enjoying this also. But like I said, you don't know if these things really happened. You have to take everything with a grain of salt and just enjoy the ride. It's historical fiction. It's not a biography or anything. So something else that I've been really enjoying that I was super surprised about, and that is The History of Tom Jones by Henry Fielding. So I saw that Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, that he was going to be reading this in January. And I thought, you know what? I've been wanting to read this for a long time. This actually fits in with my Jane Austen project because I had remembered about her. She had mentioned reading this in one of her letters, or I don't know, maybe it was one of the biographies I was reading about her. They mentioned that this was a book that she enjoyed. So I kind of dreaded, though, picking this up. And I saw that James over at Quaint and Curious Volumes, he was going to be, I believe he said he's going to be reading this year. I also want to mention, send James some love because he lost his dog, Louise, who was this adorable little black poodle. That is in his videos. He would usually, like, a lot of times he would sit, and so you would get to see Louise's pretty face while he talked about his books and what he was reading. So losing a pet is a family member, you know, and there's nothing like losing you know, a fur baby. So send him some love too, and everybody else on BookTube. But anyway, this book is so funny. I'm not sure if it's meant to be as funny as I'm taking it, but it's been a great ride so far. I also love that the author will talk to you almost every chapter. The chapters are super short. I think I'm into book 6 now. But I have marked it up so much because it's just, there's so much that's great about it. And I love there was like a love triangle and just how the characters are. And Tom Jones, you know, how he is, and Molly and Sophia. But anyway, I'm not in any rush, but I am really enjoying this book. The Americans, I'm still reading. I'm reading it very slowly, as you can see. I'm taking my time with it. Also, it's the end. So I'm so glad there was a character who was the youngest son, who he just had been kind of like beaten down by his mother, and his mother is now passed. So he holds all that in because nobody knew at the time what was going on. And now as an adult, he's with Teddy Roosevelt. So he is, you know, wrangling Mustangs. And the thing is, he just mentioned, because he's never had to do any work in his life. And now he's sleeping on the ground in like a horse barn. And he's working with a guy who, how do they call it? He said they called it something, but he said it's breaking horses' spirits. And he talks about the breaking of the horses, which is like so hard for me to read, but we know that in history that is true. What they had done to horses to break them was horrible, like a torture. Another hard thing, but this is so good. And like I said, it's the final one in an 8-book series of the Kent Family Chronicles. So really enjoying it too. And then, like I had mentioned, I've picked Les Mis back up. This is a reread for me. I read it a couple of years ago, and yeah, it's fantastic. I am just slowly reading it, and I love the characters. I love the, you know, like how caring this bishop is, and how all his money goes to the poor, and just his character, and the two women that live with him, and help him to be able to do the work that he does. It's just such a wonderful. This also, I want to mention the translation is that Christine Doniger. I did not read this edition, but I did read this translation. My edition that I read was that Black Penguin that is beautiful, but I was taking it to work with me, and the pages were just falling out, and I was like, "This is Penguin. What's happening?" I bought it brand new. There's two other books I'll mention. One I just picked up from the library, and it is The Meg. So John over at Must Read More, he had mentioned this and how he thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought, you know what, I need fun right now, so I ordered it from the library. I have not started it. My plan was to start it, and I'll tell you what happened to why I haven't started it yet. But I've been watching Death in Paradise from the library, but I also got The Meg from the library. And this is by Steve Alton. Anyway, I plan to watch it once I read it, and I think it will be really, like, I don't know, it might not be a fast read, but I feel like it will be. Anyway, I picked up the Jane Austen Book Club and started it, and I'm not very far. I'm only on page 14, and they're getting ready to talk about Emma, which I just read Emma last month. So once I get past that and find out what book they're reading next, I'll read that next Austen. I've already read all of Austen, but it'll be a reread, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to pretend like I'm in this book club, reading it, and then reading the Austen, and then reading this. So it'll take me a long time, but I think it's going to be fun. Anyway, I also want to mention there's a tag I want to do. I don't do tags hardly ever anymore, but there's a tag that Erin over at Read a Book or Read a Book has made, and it's, I don't know, I forget the name of the tag, the booktuber name tag or something like that. Anyway, I'll link him. I'll link everybody I mentioned down below. But like I said, I was going to read The Meg. No, I plan on picking it up still, and reading it this week. But when I woke up, because I work third shift, so it's late at night, I checked my messages, and I had a message that my work is closing. I've worked there 5 months. I like what I do. I didn't necessarily like how everything was ran, but I enjoy the clients, and I was enjoying what I was doing. So yeah, I'm going to have to find another job. I feel like that's all I did last year, was like go from job to job and try to find something that I could do that felt like I was making a difference. So something else, another change. But anyway, life is interesting, keeps us on our toes. Anyway, I hope all you are doing well. Yeah, let me know how you're doing and what you've been reading, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do that tag. And I just didn't want to wait before I made a video, because I feel like it just gets harder and harder. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Bye.